You like that? You think that's good? You like the passion? You like the passion?
Did I read Nick correctly on the call this morning?
What did he say?
It just sounded like he might, at the very least, realize, you know what? Caleb's not the sixth best quarterback in the NFL. Because at one point he was, according to Nick.
Well,
on the tiers.
Yes.
Actually, when he was in college.
Right.
He was.
And guess what? I might have been right. In that moment, Caleb was better then than he looks right now. Peak Caleb, but that's neither here nor there. If we want to relitigate one of the reasons.
Let's get into this.
Yeah, exactly. This is obvious. So what you heard on the call was me saying that Brew was going to hate this video. And the worst, this feels to me like how I act sometimes when I'm gambling on darts. And you've missed two barely, so your third one you just fired.
Are you
missed
playing
the board entirely.
darts, or are you?
No, I'm playing.
Okay,
But Greg knew what I mean. You're playing darts. You maybe have a little money online. The first two you're close but just off, and then the third one you're tilted and you fire.
For the record, I think that would be problematic if you were a professional
darts player. I understand.
You won the trophy for best darts player in college.
No, I get it. But I think the worst part of the video is the reaction, because I actually do think that
I think
Caleb,
it's the throws.
I know you do.
All bad.
That Caleb's inability at times to control his emotions can pull him down a bit. Now, to Brew's question, does this make me doubt him? No, it does not make me doubt him. But obviously, this is not good video, and it's not good that he seemed so bothered by it. That's my take, Brew.
Yeah, look, the accuracy, last year he had the most bad throws in the league. He was the only player with more than 100 bad throws. So obviously there's the accuracy issue. You're right, Nick, the fact that he let it get to him, and then the last one he threw, he doesn't even hit the net, isn't good. The temper tantrum, look, that combined with some of the other things we've seen, and we know they've been working on the body language, right? Ben Johnson wants to work on him with that. That stuff does make you say, okay, can he be or is he a leader of men? But I gotta say this. After that, like those 3 throws or 4 throws, whatever it was, you kind of got to react some way. Like, you can't make those throws and then just get back in line. Just quietly get back in line. All right, your turn, Ty. Like, you got to do something. I mean, you're going to be, oh, my God.
Yeah,
like,
I would like to say, my hand's sweaty.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, am I right?
Don't do that.
I would do that.
You have to do something. You got to react like and show everybody how ticked off you are with yourself, right. I think. But
okay, so not every throw is going to be pinpoint accurate. And for him to respond like this, I think this is, to the latter end of your point, you're going to be frustrated with yourself because the expectation of others is one thing, but his expectation of himself is to make those throws. No. And I know it's a quick twitch reaction. You don't really get to set your feet. It's right now. It's like throwing a little fire. A little smoke route right now. You got to get it in the receiver's hands so he can go and make a play with it. And so you don't get a real true opportunity to set your feet and then make the throw that you want. But in NFL games, that's how it's going to be. And so there's going to be a level of frustration that you have with yourself because you have a standard of expectation that supersedes even ours. And so it just so happens, yes, he's always had issues with controlling his emotions and the body language, and that's something that he has to get under wraps. I have no problem with Caleb doing what he just did after making those throws.
Yeah. This is, man, it is pretty cool when you call a take, when you get a take and you call it pretty early. I think it's why so many people are obsessed with trying to make such bold takes so in the future, because when you do land it, feels pretty good. And this is what I said about Caleb, that this year too, he is going to be under such an intense microscope. And I think it was on First Things First or The Herd where they were talking about, like, it was one of the generic like expectations for Caleb Williams or whatever. And I said, listen, like, there's going to be such an enhanced like double down on Caleb Williams that like any struggles early on in the season is going to be magnified to the maximum. And I was very firm where I was like, I'm still giving him the runway to struggle, to learn and grow, because last year was such a mess. But like, I don't think the media will, and plenty of fans as well, especially non-Chicago Bears fans, in terms of the ones who are just going to be loud and will be sharing their views. And here we are now, like getting footage of like certain drills and referring to Caleb, and you guys have all seen the clip, like Bruce said, a temper tantrum. That's not a temper tantrum. I mean, like, he was frustrated with himself, and he like kind of like spun around and then like walked away for a second to like cool off. Like, it's not a temper tantrum, okay? There are some players who have temper tantrums. We've seen them a lot of times as wide receivers on the sidelines, and they need to be consoled, and they're rocking back and forth, and people need to like come up to them and be like, calm down, and then the coach, that's a temper tantrum. Caleb just had a rough go at that drill and just immediately reacted and was like, fired up, and you, in a lot of ways, he like spun his body, because it was just like he needed to just like, you just let out some energy with his body, and then he walked away to cool off, to actually monitor, to actually like cool down his emotions, which is actually a smart way to go about it, actually. And it's so funny to me, because if you heard, Wild was joking where he was like, "Oh, my hand's wet or something. These regulation balls," and Greg was like, "Don't do that, don't do that." And and they didn't really unpack that at all, because it kind of gets thrown to the side a little bit. But like, that is what a lot of athletes have done over the year. I've played with them, where it's just like, no matter what sport it is, and you see this in basketball more than any other sport, because you can really just sit there and watch it at home. There's so many times a player has a really ugly shot. He's going for a layup. He gets kind of like, his feet get tied up kind of, and he's like, just like an awkward shot or a bad shot, whatever it may be. And they immediately go to the refs to be like, I was fouled. And then they like carry on like extra, because it was such a bad possession, such a bad shot. And you see the best in the league and the worst in the league do it. And I see it all the time. And it always immediately registered me as like, you made a bad play, you took a bad shot, came off your fingers weird, whatever it was, it hit the backboard way too hard, and you're like, and you might have got bumped a little bit, like it's basketball, you're gonna have some contact, and you're looking to the ref to bail you out, so, and you make an extra big stink about it, because you want everyone to know, like, I was fouled, that's why that shot was that bad, like, I was fouled. And it's like, it's a saving face of like embarrassment. And that is where I disagree with Greg a little bit, because he's like, oh, he's reacting this way. He's like, doesn't matter about the expectations of everyone else. It's like, it's what he thinks of himself. And I'm like, it depends. At this point of Caleb's career, he knows everyone's watching him. He knows he's in line doing this drill, and he's got a bunch of other people standing next to him, other quarterbacks and other players and coaching staffs. And like, sometimes like you react because you're reacting based off of like everyone observing you. And it's a weird thing. And what I was trying to say also earlier, it's like, I played with so many people who were just like, oh, like if it was baseball, they're like, oh, this bat feels dead. Like, I don't know, feels off. Or like you make a bad pitch and you're like, oh, that ball, the laces are messed up. Or basketball, you're like, oh, that ball has too much air in it. Or football, you run around and you're like, oh, I think my cleat is a little messed up. Oh yeah, it's a little loose. I need to, my laces were a little, not tight enough. I was kind of slipping out for a little bit. And it's just like, okay, whatever. And it's just like, people are always looking for other reasons, oftentimes, for their failures. But and I don't think that's what Caleb's doing, by the way. Like not even close to it. So I'm fine with this reaction. I think it's interesting. There's always a time and a place to kind of have like an actual reaction itself. For me personally, I always ebbed and flowed in that. I would have liked to hear Greg kind of talk from his personal experience as to like when the moment felt like he called for having like an actual emotional reaction versus not. I mean, sometimes when you mess up a drill like that, or it just doesn't go well, sometimes you like the best way is just to kind of make a joke and be like, well, that was pretty good. And then, and you make a joke, you're like, all right, let's see if you could do better than that, boys. Like, sometimes it's just like, you disarm it. You're like, all right, that was not what I planned. Or it's like, I totally meant to do that. Like, sometimes that's the right reaction. Sometimes it is getting angry. Like, I think oftentimes when I see a reaction like that to me signals more about the feeling of pressure and other things, some of his struggles just starting to fill this cup a little bit more than he would want right now. That's for me on the outside looking in and observing, and my own like legitimate expertise on human behavior. It's like that's what I'm looking at more. I don't see him do that and see like that's just a guy who demands better from himself. I see it as someone who's just like not his day, not having the best of a few days right now. He's expecting that this year now with Ben Johnson, like everything's going to change. Because I also believe that when you have a year like he did, he's part of it is going to him recognizing I didn't play great. I need to be better. I need to be a better football player, better quarterback, better man, better. But there's also going to be a big part of him being like, I didn't have good coaches. I didn't have a good staff. I didn't have an O-line. Like, you're all going to be like, yep, everything's going to be different. I got Ben Johnson. I got this. I got that. Like, I'm excited, turning a new leaf. Like, here we go. Everything's going to be different now. We're really going to be able to progress and get better and better and better. And when that doesn't quite meet the reality of the moment, it's just kind of like this, like this extra frustration of like, oh, like this is supposed to be smoother. This is supposed to be easier. And then a good coach will come to you and be like, I don't know who told you this was supposed to be easy. I don't know who told you that you're supposed to just ball out from the jump right now. Like, this is going to take time. This is going to take a second. So, like, that's why I'm not jumping on any of these clips and being like, oh, look how bad this was, or this wasn't good throwing, or like, I remember when I played darts or something. Like, it's just like, you know, it just is what it is. Practices often involve a lot of this type of stuff. And that's what Greg was kind of saying, where he's like, you're not going to throw every ball with pinpoint accuracy. You're just not. And to kind of refer it back to basketball, one of the best things and a lesson that I wish I learned so much younger, because it would have radically transformed my own mentality and my own psychological approach, was watching how frequently I see Steph Curry airball. Watching Steph and Clay at the time when they were at their peak powers and they were playing together, how often that they would legitimately airball. And, you know, when you airball, you even have the fans that go, airball. And when you're growing up and you're balling, whether you're like playing more pickup or like in a real game, like when you airball a shot, like you feel like the world is crap. You feel dumb. You feel like, oh my God, I've just been exposed. I'm a terrible player. I can't shoot. I airballed. I missed everything. And I'm like, Steph Curry's out there airballing. Right? Klay Thompson, these are the best shooters I've ever seen in my entire life, and they legitimately airball. And it's not a rare occurrence. Like, it happens more than you would think. And it's just like, yeah, because it just happens. And so you're going to have drills like that, and yeah, it's going to happen. You're going to just have 4 bad throws in a row. You're going to have bad interceptions. You're going to miss a read. You're going to miss a guy. Like, it's all going to happen. And that is also, in a lot of ways, sports psychology 101. Like, when I see baseball players, because there's a lot of mental gymnastics in baseball, especially with hitting, where where you strike out and the guys get so mad, and it's just like, I always want to be like, were you expecting that you weren't going to have any strikeouts? Like, the likelihood of you striking out at least once a game in baseball is massive, and you're getting so angry for a basic fundamental part of the game. And it's like, if you can let that go, you will live so much more freely, and you will be able to compete so much more freely. And in a lot of ways, like when we watch the best of the best play football, like there's a level of intensity, like even like a Tom Brady, but there's also a looseness to it as well. Like it's one of those things where it's like not too tight, not too loose. And when you are too tight, you can kind of get this eruption. When you are too loose, you get like a Jameis Winston, where it's like, sure, I threw for a ton of yards, but like I also had 30 interceptions as well. So like, it's not too tight, not too loose. It's a balance. And, you know, it sounds to me that Caleb never really had heavy guidance through this process, you know, through his upbringing, throughout his football career. And he's starting to get it now, and he's now getting it where like the lights are as bright as they possibly can be. The pressure, the scrutiny. I mean, by definition, he is under a microscope right now. And it's a lot. I mean, it definitely is. I mean, it's a real thing that he's going to be dealing with right now. And I don't know. I mean, in a lot of ways, it just is what it is. I don't think it's fair to make value statements and judgments based on the type of quarterback we think he's going to be, based off of some of the things that we're hearing right now, because I'm going to judge him based on how much growth and progress does he show throughout this offseason, throughout preseason, throughout the season. Like, that's what I care about more than anything, because these young quarterbacks, more often than not, are just incredibly raw talent. And when they finally get to high-level coaching, it's like, okay, let's see what these coaches can sculpt this quarterback into. And that's what it gets boiled down to. I'm not looking for ready-made players. Don't get me wrong. When you have players that can out the gate be great and ball out, but it's just like, I'm always expecting these younger players to struggle, to have some issues. You will have no shortage of tape of them failing a drill, being, whatever it may be. But the problem is we always jump on that as such a guarantee. Like, that is a drill that I absolutely can do. And you can absolutely find a stretch where I nail all 4 throws. Does that mean that I'm better than Caleb Williams? Of course not. Like, not even close. And if we keep running that drill, there's going to be a stretch where I also miss the net 3 or 4 times. Just is what it is. So it's just like, it's just not fair to kind of take a snapshot here, take a snapshot there. I mean, what quarterback could we say had the best, a Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow, whatever quarterback you want to use, that's up to you. I'm not, but anyone who absolutely played undeniably great last season, we could put together a 10-minute highlight reel of them looking awful. Like, truly, there is without a shadow of a doubt throughout the whole season, more than 10, we could probably put together an hour-long highlight reel of the top 5 quarterbacks this last season, of them looking like they've never played football a day in their life. Like, that's the way this stuff works. So it's just like, just hard. It's just hard to kind of take some of this stuff out. And right now, especially, these type of takes, in a lot of ways, it's going to be bigger for people to, if he got it all in, in the net on all 4 balls and it was perfect, probably wouldn't really highlight that clip. Maybe First Things First would, and maybe Nick Wright would be like, oh, see, I told you, super, MVP incoming and all of that, but that would be more of like, I told you, but it wouldn't really be the content that it is now by seeing him fail. Right? That hits differently for conversations in August. So I would always just be very hesitant to just get too high or low with a lot of this stuff. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams? Are you starting to worry about Caleb? And Ben Johnson, straight up saying the offense is sloppier than we were hoping at this point. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.